Hey everyone, I'm Lily, and you can't see my face, but I'm over here. I'm around here somewhere. But today we're going to be doing something a bit new for this channel, and I'm going to be doing some sewing. It's something, I mean, I like doing cosplay and stuff like that, and I've done other sewing and things like that, and it's something I want to get more into in general, and yeah, I thought I would make a video of it. So for this first one, I don't know, this probably will be in 2 parts. I'll probably have one video kind of like with all like the measuring and cutting and things like that. But, and then we'll have another one that's actually the sewing and assembly. So it'll be in 2 sort of pieces before we actually get into it. For this one, because it's less because it's simple, because like, just for figuring out how to record this, I'm going with a little bit more of a simple design, and I am going to just be making a skirt. Normally I wouldn't buy a pattern for a skirt, but skirts were on sale for $2. Like this is normally like $17, and you never want to pay that much money. Like unless you need a pattern for some reason, always wait for just patterns to go on sale, because they usually go on sale pretty frequently. Because stores want you to buy patterns, so you then buy like fabric and stuff. So, but yeah, but for $2, I'll like have it do my measurements for me and whatnot, and not have to worry about that. I'm probably gonna be making some modifications to it. One thing I'm going to be doing is I'm thinking about kind of making it a kind of like a suspender skirt, which allows me to have it a bit looser. Like this one, I'm going to be making the waist a little bit wider than my waist is, because I have a very like skinny waist. So we're going to be making like a little bit wider there, but then we're going to be adding the kind of like this like material. We have this. We'll just go into what we're going to be using. So we have the pattern here, which we're going to get into in a moment. But we have this material. I have it in 2 pieces because reasons. That main reason being I got too little of it at first because I can't read. But it's this really nice kind of like diagonal plaid where it's fabric has a direction and we'll be cutting it there. So but we'll get this diagonal look on that, so it's not like a straight across plaid you find, and it's really comfortable. It's a flannel, and it'll be really cozy. And I forgot to trim this edge, and I might do that right now, because I have already put these through the wash. I have my sewing scissors here, so if you don't know anything about sewing, first thing is you should never use your sewing scissors for anything that isn't cloth, because anything like if you cut paper and stuff with them, they'll lose their sharpness. And if you were to use my sewing scissors for paper, I would then have to murder you. So that's cool. And just cutting off all these like loose ends and stuff, which you don't need to do this because we'll be doing like cutting in a moment, but just large pieces bug me and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay. This here is interfacing, which is a type of material that you use to kind of, it'll go underneath and like in areas to like just gives a little bit of extra strength to an area. We'll do a few in a moment. Otherwise, might as well just talk about other stuff. This is my big box of sewing supplies, which recently I cleaned out a lot of, and a lot of it isn't in here. I need to reorganize it. Your clothing pins, which we'll need, obviously, because we're sewing. These are my non-sewing scissors, and then my very fancy fabric scissors. We have this thread, which we're going to be using, which is just, it's a thread that, it's a little bit darker. It's the same, it's about the same. It's pretty much exactly the same as like the main color of this, which is typically what you want to go for. You can do something where it's like you choose a contrasting thread color to give it that like pop there, but then you have to be a lot more careful about making sure your thread is perfect, because then it's obviously popping. This one, if I make a small thread mistake, it isn't an issue. So yeah, so we'll put you aside for now because you don't need to be here. And let us pop out the pattern. So knowing the demographics of my user base, I expect that most of you have not sewn a skirt before. Or, I mean, if we're just talking about, like, let's be honest, like, most men have not, like, increasing number of men know, like, things about, like, reparations and stuff like that, but, most have not made clothing and stuff, but even a lot of women haven't. Usually when you get a pattern like this, it'll have multiple different styles. We're going to be making style C. I do like the longer skirts, but C has pockets, unlike A. A, which is looking at it first, and pockets are amazing, and I want pockets. I hate it when companies don't put pockets on skirts and stuff, and I am not going to be the person who doesn't put that out. And it comes with some instructions. There is one instruction you're looking for. I believe is on this one, which will give you kind of a recommended layout. So, for how we want to lay out the patterns. And this is our pattern, which hopefully I'll have. Oh, that is upside down. Yeah, okay. So, cool. Right. So, these already have the seam allowance cut in, but for now we just want to cut out the patterns we want. But we're going with size 12 for most of it. So I'm going to take a marker, just like this, and we are going to just kind of like, I don't know, mark out what it is so we can like keep track of what we're cutting. Although that probably won't be necessary. So if you look on like the piece itself, like I am making number C, or letter C, pattern C. So it will tell me, where is it? We are going to need which pieces? Where does it say that? Welcome to Lily doesn't do adequate prep work. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait, what? Shouldn't you have? Oh shoot, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I believe that's everything, and we'll need everything, but made for C and D, which is not an issue. Okay, and for this, I'm just going to use my non-fancy scissors. I mean, these are still nice scissors. And we will just begin cutting out our pattern. You can like do transfers and stuff to save this pattern, but I only need the one. I mean, I'll save the pattern, but I don't need to preserve the other sizes. One thing I do like to do is just cut out the whole piece and then trim to the size, just because I think it's a little bit easier to work with. Okay. This is one of those things that will also gets a lot easier as you remove pieces. We have our first piece here, which has the, might be hard to see, but it has the number of what piece it is. And this one, we're actually going to cut over a fold, so this will be actually double that. And this is going to form the front of the skirt. Next up we have the pocket pattern. And I'll go through and do the size in a moment. A nice big pocket that, cause it's like even when women's clothes often like has pockets, they're like laughably small. Like this dress that I have on right now, it has pockets, but they're just like, they're nothing. You can't fit anything in this. Don't even keep your hand warm. Okay, you. This part here is part of the yoke, which is kind of, it's like the waistband in some ways. Now we have this other half of the yoke. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might just actually just make the size larger, just the 14, because one of the things is that it's easier to have things make things smaller than it is to make things bigger. And just because having that a little bit looser fit is nice. And we can always bring it in after the fact if we need to. piece, and now we're going to do this big one. Although knowing that we are going to be doing that, I am just going to cut the trim, which is we don't need this large piece right here. We just need to cut along here because we're making C and D. Away. Do you have anything important on you? No, you don't. You have some instructions, but I'll read you later. Okay. And finally we have one line here. Come on. Cool. And now we have our pattern cut out. Oh, no, not quite. Okay, that part of the yoke, 4, 5. That's where we cut that out, and I would just remove this part. Okay, cool. And you can go away. Cool. So this is all the parts of the dress that were not dress, but the piece. So now we need to actually pin this to our fabric. So I have a bunch of clothing pins, and then we're going to grab the first of our fabric, and the first one is actually just going to be one. This is going to go on the smaller of the two pieces, and what this is going to do, this is one, if you look at the fabric itself, it will have this, these arrows. The arrows usually tell you like where you want it to be perpendicular to the grain of the fabric, but when they point to the side there, that means it wants you to fold it, and like kind of like when you like would cut out something on like and cut into it, so it'll have that mirror image. So I am going to open you up. So we have the selvage here, which is kind of like this like part which is like sewn together and stuff by the manufacturer and stuff. But we want to fold it so these selvages are touching. So those go together, and then we come down, and then we keep blowing that around because this is tissue paper. The slightest gust of air makes it go flying. And we're going to just line you all up right there, and it's going to be very nice. Cool. And now we're going to, line this up, and we're going to just put it right there. And it's going to go there. And now we need to pin this to the piece. And the fact that we have this space here is I'm probably going to make the suspender straps from these right here. But I'm probably going to actually wait to cut those until most of the rest of the skirt is done. Because I want to figure out like where it sits well on my hips and stuff, and then do the measurements from there. Also read that as in I meant to do those measurements before I started recording this video, and I proceeded to not do that. Right, so we're just going to open up all these clothing pins, and what we're going to begin to do is pin this to this fabric itself. So first things first is that one thing you want to do that's important is that you usually want to have the pins perpendicular to the cut. So it's like we're going to be cutting along here, but we want the pin going perpendicular. Just gives you, if it parallel, it can, like when it gets scrunched up when it's getting cut and stuff, it can not give you ideal effects. So and on corners you just kind of do the same thing, but it's like you do it at an angle like that. Okay, and so we're going to just like give that pinch here, and we're going to go through here, pin you there, and it goes all the way through. One thing I like to do is words that mean things. I don't even know what I'm saying. Go on. Oops. That's not how I do that. I'm really bad at this. It doesn't help that I don't have a hard surface I'm doing on. I'm doing this on a rug. It just makes it a little bit harder. Okay. Push back through. Come on. Nope, yep, you got it. Just keep the pattern nice and snug with the fabric. Now, I want to have it on this side. Oops, that's not how you do this. I know what I'm doing, even though I just said. Oops, wrong way. I like to have it pointing towards the inside, because I'm less likely to poke myself when cutting. And this pattern will stay on here pretty much until you start sewing this piece. Just because it helps to see like, oh, this is number piece 1, and you don't have to scramble to figure out what it is. And there you go. There you go. you have any questions, don't ask me. I'm by no means good at this. It's just a hobby that I mostly, like, I don't actually do that much working from patterns. Like, most of what I do is, like, cosplay, where it's, like, I'm kind of, like, figuring out on my own and kind of just doing what works. This is a lot more organized and, I don't know, disciplined than what I'm used to. Okay. I don't know. It was kind of nice doing it like on the floor, because I don't know. I see like a lot of YouTubers like who like do this sort of thing, and it's like they have like their like nice like workshops with like the fancy sewing tables and things like that. But it's like you don't need that much. You can be sitting on the ground doing just these kind of projects. Like I'll just be at like my computer desk when I pull out my sewing machine to actually do the sewing on the next video. Come on. Okay. Oh, no, that one didn't go all through. You want to make sure that these go through all the layers of the fabric, especially if you're doing that, because like both of these pieces are like attached to each other. And here we go. This piece is now on there, and we're going to come back and cut this out, but I want to put the rest of them on this other one first, just so we make sure that we have everything that we need. So, first this one is going to come up. And then we're going to look at the second one. Yeah. Okay, so this one says it wants to be double thickness, because we want obviously 2 of each of these. Okay, and this one actually wants multiples of some words, things. I can't talk today. So for double thickness things, typically what you do is you have like 2 pieces and you'll slip them across and do that. I just fold it in half like I do normally, which is last time we like folded it in half so the selvages were both on the same end. This time we're going to be folding it in half so the selvages are Alright, come on. Sometimes it helps to stand up for this. Or together at this end. We want to make sure that this is all lined up. Good. Okay, cool. And, yeah. Okay, so this one actually has multiples of some pieces, and this is where, like, something like tracer paper would be really useful to have, but I don't have any on me, so, we're just gonna have to make do. So the first piece we need, and it's probably the largest one, which is going to be the 2, which we don't need multiples of this pattern. Because obviously we need 2 of these patterns. This is going to be, because like when you have a skirt, like oftentimes you'll have like, you want like a large section, you'll have a seam down the back. So we're gonna have a seam down the back and we're gonna have seams down the sides. So it's gonna be like divided into thirds. And this is going to be the two like front and like words that mean things. These are going to be the two like the back 2/3. So yeah. I'm just trying to orient myself on this chart. Okay, so it says selvages, selvages. So we're going to have you just kind of just words that mean things. Have you right here. Okay. And we have also extra space on that other one, so if we don't fit everything onto this one specifically, it doesn't mean the world. That said, we should be able to fit everything. I'm just getting rid of some extra tissue paper because there's like an instructions on this, which I do want to save. Not that this is particularly useful instructions. Where did my other patterns go? Oh, back over here. Okay, so now this says it wants 2 1s and as well as 2 3s. This is a 4. This is a. How does it say it wants this to go? Centerfold. Okay, so this one kind of wants it to be like doubled and to like combine this and just have it as one piece on this pattern, which is a problem because I don't bother with tracer paper and everything, so we can't make a second one of these on the design, and we don't want to like make one and then scratch it off and make the other. So we're actually going to put this piece on that other piece that we just put up, and we're going to make 2 of them because we need a total of 2 of these. But we're going to have to put it on the other one because you see this one has the 2 arrows again, where you can just like double it and just have that because it's the same thing as folding it. But because we only have 1 of this pattern, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so instead also, okay, so we'll need 2 4s, which is pretty easy. Like we'll just probably cut that out like around here or so, which will be fine. And we also need obviously 2 pockets, and probably fit it here and like here, and that will save a large amount of stuff here. And by 2 pockets, of course, this is double thickness, so because we need 4 pockets, because we're gonna like sew these to each other and to form the actual like pocket itself. Okay, so with that in mind, so we're going to actually just get this big piece out of the way, and so the rest of them will then pin, so it's just a little bit more of a maneuverable thing, and we'll cut it out. And we're going to pin this one just like the others, the first one, and I'm actually going to rearrange it this way. There's probably more optimal ways of like cutting your fabric and stuff like that, but I got extra just because I know I'm bad at this. One thing to always note is look at where this arrow is, which is the grain, and we are now also still following that grain because our grain is going this way because you see the selvage is there. That is a mistake I've made in the past, and it's not good for multiple reasons. One, it's like if you have it like at a weird angle, the fabric will fray a lot easier, so it's a lot less structurally sound. And if you, for something like this, which is like this plaid, which has actually a direction to the pattern, it will look weird because it will be like off by like, I don't know, 20 degrees or something, and we don't want that. Alright, so let's just pin this one like the other. There we go. And I'm just gonna keep pinning as normal, and making sure that, because the fabric can get a little bit scrunched up during this process, you want to constantly be like re-stretching out, making sure that everything's okay and all that, making sure that this is parallel. And you see, this one, we're actually getting a weird thing here where I actually kind of want to redo this pin. As well as this one kind of fell out because it wasn't just aligned quite right. And that's good. And actually, I'm going to strengthen this side of which is parallel first, just so we get that angle like a bit more secured. Because this is the most important. And that one's a bit too close to the edge for my taste, because we don't want actually like the brand to be on it. Come on. This pin just isn't very pointy, so it's having some troubles. Now, because this one is 2 pieces, I'm having a few more pins I would normally have, just because it has some other things going on. There we go. And you see there's like dots here, which is important because those are important points for when we do the actual construction, and we'll mark those words that mean things when we go through and do some other, when we cut it and take it apart. Oh, red. Okay. This one's being bad. And that one just messed up entirely. Okay, come on, Lily. You got this. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Oh, bad. This is one of those situations where it's like, because I'm recording it and I don't want to move around, like normally I'd be moving a lot more around this, but I don't want to block the camera angle. Okay. Go on, go close. There we go. this one final side, which will be easier because it's closer to the edge of the fabric, which makes it easier to poke it. And we have a pin there. And this is our pattern. And like I said, I don't want to do the others quite yet. Where did number 4 go? Where'd you go? Because there's 3. There you are. Cool. And you're 4. Awesome. Okay, so for this, I am just gonna cut this now, being before we get into pinning the other few pieces. So I'm gonna take some scissors, and we are going to just start cutting this out. So I'm gonna start with this edge over here. And now this will go here. And it's okay if you don't do this exactly, because like this is the inside of the fabric. This is oh, I'm noticing that it is folded over here, which is not what we want. This won't be seen for the most part, and as always, kind of like one of the rules is like, it's always better to have too much than too little when it comes to material. Okay, it'll come off, and we'll just snip you and have that's not scraps I really care about saving. Now rotate over this way. Now, bring it around over here. And And there we go. And this is our first piece cut. And this one, I'm just going to fold, and we'll deal with that when we start the actual sewing part. So here we go into the done pile, which probably shouldn't be there. Okay, so next up we need the next largest piece, which is we need 4 pockets. So we're going to keep this same piece here, and alrighty. So this slice here is probably going to not be usable, but okay. So we need 2 pockets. So we could have one there, and that would like leave. We'd have a angle line like right there. So we could have. Could we fit the other pocket right here? Yes, we definitely can. Okay, so let's do that, and we'll get the 4 pocket sections we need. So this goes here, and the pocket section has several things. Oh, I forgot to put the notches in. Let's do that in a moment. Let's actually do that right now before I forget. Because that is very important. So, a lot of these internal dots and stuff I will do later, when I actually like unpin it and stuff. But one thing that's important to note, especially when you're scissors up, is that you have these notches, which shows you the points where it's like notches or match up with notches, and will help us like match up here. So on this part, we're just going to like just make a little snip right there, which says, hey, this is where this comes together elsewhere. And there's no notches at the bottom, and so a notch there, and notches down there. Nope. And we have a notch here. And on this piece, we also have one right here. And that appears to be it. Okay. That is just a very important part of this. Okay, so back to the creation of this. Because you see, this one has a notch here and 2 notches right there. Okay, and we'll have this here, and we'll grab our pins. And this one's very complex because like there's all the weird angles and stuff, but in terms of positioning, where like the actual like pins go and direction they go in, but the direction they pin go in is just essentially mainly because you just don't want them parallel. Cool. And this is a much smaller piece, so it's so much faster to pin, which is good because then we have to unpin it and make a second one. But you never want to. There's always a temptation to take a shortcut and not pin as much as you think you would, and pinning is almost always. It's always worth the little extra time to make sure you do it right. Okay. Put that up in here. And this one to right there. Cool. And let's just, well, cut this out. Alright. Probably could have done an extra pin right here because you notice like it's coming up a bit. And just the more pins you have allows you a little bit more maneuverability when it comes to and book. And here we go. So this one we need to just unpin real quick. And remember, put the pins back away. And when I need to end up marking like the points here, I'll just re-overlay this overlay and figure it out. That's not the hardest thing to do. And these pieces are also very distinct, so we don't need to mark that like, hey, these are the pocket pieces, because that'll be very easy to see. Oops, missed one. Also need to be careful because this is tissue paper and can break very easily. But here we have two very nice pieces of the pocket, and then these will end up going like together, and then you'll sew them together, and it'll provide like the pocket. Cool. And you go right there. And do we end up having enough space to do that right there? We have space to do it like right here, which is perfect. Cut you off you because you don't need to be there. And yeah, cool. Do we have space to do that? No, we'll do that elsewhere. Cool. So now we just gotta repin everything. And, oh, we forgot the notches again. Okay, that is not the end of the world. I'm just going to simply overlay it, and, I am just not together today. And we will just bring it together and be like, notch. Notch. And notch. Cool. So there's these tiny little notches you can't see because it's not great lighting over there. Okay, cool. And you go there. Okay, next part. So we do that again. Oh. And make sure to double check to make sure you're going along the correct line here. because especially when you get into like these like small pieces, which are like, okay, I want to fit them into the space to preserve material and stuff, it's easy to forget that like you do need to keep along that grain line. I guess technically, ooh, that was a mistake. Technically the grain line is this way, but the way this fabric is, it won't be an issue because we are just going at a 90-degree angle. But that is something I did mess up on. So, but for this, it shouldn't matter. Cross my fingers. Oh. Oh, don't even know how this video will turn out because, I don't know, this is very experimental for me, but I'm excited. Oh, that's 2 pins, not just 1. Cool. And now that should be enough, and we're just going to cut this out now. Part. This is large enough that I could like just consider a scrap that, I don't know, I might come of use of it, or it'll probably just sit at the bottom of like my like scrap bin forever. And you know what, that happens. And cut. And cut. Because these pieces won't be part of the other thing, and just makes the rest of this piece that much more usable. Same thing with like right there, although that could theoretically be part of that, so I'm not going to worry about that. And before I forget, let's just do the notches real quick. So, notch. Notch. I don't think that one notched all the way through. There we go. And another notch over here. And there are the other pockets done. Okay, so next up is we need you. Which, okay, so we need 2 of these. Which, okay, let's just line this up. And by 2 of them, of course, I need 4 of these, because this is all double width. Okay, find our selvages, which is, of course, here and here. And this says theoretically we want to line it up that way. So, I'm actually going to do this over here, just so we can keep this area over here. And I'm just going to have it be here. This is awkward because it's like, I guess I could technically do it this way, but I don't like it being upside down. I'm just going to waste a little material just for simplicity's sake. Like there is the there is a pitfall of trying to like be totally optimal in every single way for like a use of fabric and stuff, but honestly, especially when you're starting out, it's a lot more headache than it's worth. is in. Alright, let's just rearrange you. And let us just cut this real quick. Which, this is a very easy piece. Make sure you cut on camera, Lily. Oh. Okay, cool. That piece there. Cool. And now the notches real quick. Notch. Notch. And I believe that is it. Yes. Cool. And this one I gotta amend because we gotta do this again. See, now we have these two little pieces, which will be part of the waistband, which you can't really see because that's not how the angle of the thing is going, but okay. But I put it to my waist, which is fine. Alright, so now we just need to do another one of those real quick. And this is the one we'll keep the thing on. Okay, so now we have this piece right here, which is just, this is like, it's a decent sized piece of scrap, but it won't be useful for us. This one, let me just align this up here and put this right there, or right there. Yeah, that's better. Cool. And let's just repin this again like we have been doing. Right down and through. Is that perpendicular? Parallel? Yes, that is exactly what we want. Cool. Oh, that's not the selvage. I again did this the wrong way. Oh. And it being, this won't be an issue. I hope. Yeah, let's just do this to be safe. Welcome to Lily shouldn't be doing this early, this late at night. Okay, cool. Again, I'm way off the camera because I don't pay attention to things. That's a needle on the floor. Don't want to poke myself when I'm getting water in the middle of the night. And that did not rhyme. Oh well. No. Just continue poking all of this through. Oh, that is 2 needles. There you go. Okay. And one more. Here we are. Awesome. And now we cut. I'll just and cool. Here's random stuff. You, we actually don't need any of anymore, so you can just go over there. And next we can do the notches, which is there and there. Cool. And that's another piece. It goes into the dump pile. Next, we're going to bring on this second piece that we pinned initially, and I'm going to be putting this right here and just having that like a line there. But I'm going to do that in a moment because I just like cutting this first, just so we have this all done. And cool. This piece comes off, and I noticed that I left a bigger piece over here. So I'm just gonna clean this up a bit. But like I said, better to have too much material than too little, because a mistake like that, very easy to fix. And now I'm not gonna unpin this, but this now will fold out and be the large front section of the skirt, and all this material feels so good. Let's do the notches. There'll be no notches on that side, obviously, because that's technically the middle of the piece. We have a notch, which is technically 2 notches. Notch. And there is another piece done. next we're going to have this piece right here. And we need actually 2 of these. So we're gonna have 1 and then, can we fit another one there? That might be a tight fit. Might have to do that on the, might have to use, actually no, that should be fine. That'll be perfectly fine. We're good. Never mind. It'll be a tight fit, but we got this. We got this. Pen. 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 Then pen. Pen. Penning this side isn't as important because we're not like cutting along that side and whatnot. Okay, let's just go in here and we will cut. Up and up and cool. And that is all around. So that now we can unpin this because we need to make the other one. Oh, the notches. Notches, notches, notches. Very important. Notch. And notch. And this is the front of the yoke, which goes around my waist. And now let us just pin the second one, which we just have this tiny little spot left to do. Oh, it's upside down. Not that it matters, but we want it to be like that. Cool. And this will be the last piece that we have to cut out. Actually, that's not true. I still have the interfacing cut out, but that happens only for some of these pieces, but it's pretty much exactly the same as what I'm doing here for cutting that out. And I'll probably do that because this video has gone a tad long as is. But definitely let me know, what do you think of this video, and do you want to see like more sewing videos and more stuff like that, not just like both garment construction like this. I mean, obviously I'm going to be doing the second part of this video, which will be the actual sewing of this piece together, and some other things like that. And then doing like the final like alterations and fitting and things like that. But yeah. So let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. But also I could also do like things like cosplay and things like that. Although cosplay is a bit harder to do a video on because cosplay is a lot less of me just continuous work, and it's a lot of research and trial and error and things like that, where it's a bit harder to make like a smooth flow. It's a lot of me racing all over the house to find stuff, or trying something out and it not working, and me cursing the universe, you know, normal stuff. Come on. There we go. There you go. No, you know, let me know what you think. I'm really excited for this piece. I actually have another project. Everything is like, I have all the things for it, but I don't know if I want to make a video out of it. I might just make that on my own for fun. Because this is it's just one of those things that's legitimately, it's very satisfying and also very relaxing. I mean, and it's something I encourage everyone to at least try out. Especially if you already have access to a sewing machine. Because you can hand stitch garments, but garments are usually large enough that you don't want to hand stitch them. And they just like last so much longer when the machine's stitched. There. And here we go. Forgot to do the notches, but we now have all of the components measured, cut out, and ready to go. And yeah, no, next video we'll be assembling this and putting it all together and making a skirt out of this. So yeah, no, I really hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, where's the other piece? Definitely let me know if you want to see other things like this. I also have plans for making like a pinafore dress out of this material. Although I might just get too excited and just make that on my own. Yeah, no, let me know. And I'm still working on the kinks, so I'll have to figure out like how this filming angle worked out and such. And I definitely know I want to improve the lighting of it. But yeah. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I hope you all have wonderful dreams. And as always, may your stories smile upon you.